We're going to start without them because you guys are cooler than they are. So today's lesson is really, we're going to review a pro game. How many of you guys have actually reviewed a pro game before? One? Okay, kind of.
Half of one.
Cool. This game actually is a game. You know, I've gone through it a couple times. I don't understand every move in here. Like there are some moves that confound me, and I go, that's way above my level. Like I would see this. I'm going to try to explain it as best as I can to you. I did read a little bit of commentary by a Korean Anyang Gil, professional player. He had like 4 sentences of commentary, and there's one move in particular that he really had really high praise for. I had no idea what it did. I still don't really am sure what it does. I think I know what it does, but I'm not really convinced. So anyway, that's sort of how reviewing a pro game goes. You're going to encounter things that are just not on your radar. Like they're going to play things that you're just going, whoa. This is also just a really good way to learn, and if you've sort of hit I don't want to say like a standstill or a point in your own game where, you've done the books, you've done the drills, you're playing the games, and, you just sort of need to do something new or break out of your regular stuff, just read through a pro game, because you will see something new happen, and you'll go, whoa, I don't know about this. I'll spend some time figuring it out. Okay, the game I want to review is it's the winner of it's the championship game, I should say, of the 2014 Oza tournament. This is one of 7 major Japanese tournaments they hold every year. The prize money is well into the 6 figures. It's one of the major titles. In Japan, really over the last couple of years, there is a superstar Go player named Iyama Yuta, which I know a couple of you have already heard of before. Iyama Yuta, going into this game, held 6 of the 7 major titles, and this is the rematch for this one. So no Japanese player in the history of all 7 titles has ever held all 7 at once, and so Iyama Yuta is really the first person to ever try to do so. Iyama is actually very young. I mean, relatively, I guess, in the grand scheme of Go players. He's in his mid-20s. His challenger for this game is Murakawa Dasuke. I don't pronounce Japanese very well. But also just really a year or 2 younger than Iyama, so this is a pretty young Lions kind of game. It did go to game 5. For those of you who don't know how these big Japanese tournaments work, you get this. Basically you take the last year's winner and you put him at the top of this pyramid, and then all the other people who want to play for the winner have to play through this giant tournament just in order to play the winner. And if you've watched Hikaru no Go, they have to do this in Hikaru no Go, right? And you have the old. I forgot what they call him. Like it was the old guy in Hikaru no Go, right? He just sits there and he just watches all these pros beat each other up, and he just gets ready to play, the final game to win the championship again. That's basically how they're mostly set up. So in this game, Iyama had already won the year before, so he's just waiting for this tournament of players to spit out the best player, and in which case this is Murakawa Daisuke. In this game, Iyama is black. You guys all familiar with this move? It's good. So far we're that, It's good. So white response here. Iyama's style is said to be very un-Japanese in a lot of ways. A lot of Japanese players Japanese in general tend to play very strong opening, tend to play more overall like global strategy kind of approach to the game. In Japan, there's a big cultural difference that Go is seen almost more like an art form, like like the Japanese style of calligraphy, or some of these other more cultural cornerstones. Whereas in China and Korea, it's seen as a sport, like it's this cutthroat, competitive thing. And Iyama really plays a little more like the Chinese and the Koreans. He's got a little more of a let's get in there and just throw down stones and fight it out kind of mentality. He plays a little bit different. All right, so Iyama plays here. How is this? Good. It's a good move. Why is this good? Normally we've seen moves like this before, and we said this is bad. So, what makes this one good?
Because white needs to take the other corner and black gets the bigger side.
Yeah, white wants to both play here and over here, and white only gets one. So this side is bigger, right? So white wants to play on the bigger side first, but there's still a corner open. So if white plays over here, then black gets the next move on the bigger side of the board, which is exactly what happens, except that's there.
So that's the orthodox, right?
This is orthodox opening for black, absolutely. And white approaches this way. Normally we'd see, like this is more traditional, but more and more modern players have been sort of settling a corner first and then deciding how to
Is that
reduce.
the Kobayashi?
This would make a Kobayashi
Okay.
when white, if and when white plays here. That one doesn't work. That's stone, not the move. And then here is an opening that we saw like 30 years ago. It was very popular, and it went completely out of fashion for like 20 years, and now it's sort of back in fashion again. And it's for white to play here. Does anyone know this formation?
It's the high Chinese.
High Chinese, right? High Chinese is back.
Interesting.
So a lot of pros have been playing this the last 2 years. High Chinese is back.
Low Chinese also, or just the high?
You know, I mean, low Chinese never really went out of fashion.
Oh,
Like, so low Chinese has been with us now for over 30 years. Right, this is the low Chinese. So but high Chinese sort of started in fashion, then it basically succumbed to low Chinese, and then mini Chinese, and then micro Chinese. And here we go, we're back to high Chinese. So what do we
Reason
do?
for that? Just
Probably.
okay.
You know, a lot of times it's these openings come in and out of fashion as the top players play them. And when a top player wins with using this particular opening, everyone's like, oh, well, maybe it really isn't so bad, or really it does work, or whatever, it gets people's attention. So yeah, a few pros started playing this again, and openings are like culture. If I start saying a word over and over again, or you'll start adapting to the same types of language.
Could it? I'm just looking at it. I mean, I don't know anything, but the black could start to reduce the top since both of those.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
And then he would want to have his white would want to have some high stones on the left side.
Yeah, and this stone would be more useful, right? In theory. If black wanted to come in here and just start attacking. Yeah, absolutely. This isn't the game though, but
Right.
it's reasonable.
Okay.
It's reasonable. But I mean, there's a lot of possible moves, right? White could have played here. This would make Kobayashi. Could have played here. White could have even just done here and here. We could have even just play there. This is also possible. White. The problem with, well, I don't want to go into all these, but there's a lot of possibilities, right? Nothing is sort of. So black comes down here. Black.
This way.
This way, yes. So again, same thing for black.
Looking kind of flat.
This is flat.
Kind of.
Oh, is this flat?
No.
Okay. Why not?
Because he's got a bunch of good guys on the third line, fourth line, or whatever.
That's possible, right? We could say this is low, 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 low. You could say black is low. It is partially Iyama's style to play very solid and safe, and just wait for the right moment to start some sort of vicious fight. Like Iyama, unlike some Korean players, he doesn't want to go in and fight. He's gonna wait, and then fight. That's sort of more of Iyama's style. So maybe that's just a reflective of that. But it is, I mean, all these stones are kind of low and kind of safe, and that's just how a game goes sometimes. Over here, white actually has a couple choices, here or here. And these are both pretty normal. This distance is a little bit too large, so white wants to sort of repair it. And so in the game, white plays here, but I think both are valid. White plays here for balance to help out with any future invasion. Of course, this will put more pressure on the stone and make these invasions more applicable and threaten to take more territory. This is how optimistic or pessimistic are you feeling that day? So
In that situation, can I ask? In that situation, if he had played high there,
yeah.
what would be a real? Could black just play? What would that be? The 3, like G? Yeah, could he do that reasonably with that stone up so close to him?
It's unlikely
Okay.
because we have no support.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to just go throw stones in without any support. Unless we're treating this really lightly. And black to some degree could treat this lightly because we already sort of have the Shamari cutting into this. I think this would be a little bit uncharacteristic though for a really high level game of Go is to
Right.
play really irrational moves. There's still things on the board to talk about
Yeah,
before we start playing,
invasions.
severe invasions.
Okay.
So,
He plays low though, right?
oh, sorry, thank you. So black comes off, and again, this seems pretty reasonable. Looks like we're building. And black finally plays a high stone. Right, so we're now actually starting to try to take something. And guess what? White now has the time to come back and play here. And so far, this is looking pretty Japanese style-like in terms of a game. Like very peaceful, very territorial. Every move is, the placement is very, very careful. Yeah, so far it's pretty normal. Where do you think black plays?
I think he needs to approach that top left zone.
Eco would play somewhere in the middle.
Hiko?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Not
not
mean anything, but maybe he does it because stylistically, that's what Japanese guys do.
Okay, well, this is a 9-down pro Japanese player.
Well, where did Hiko get adopted? Hiko,
Who is
Hiko's one of our Go Center members.
I mean, I'm sure.
Dan is using Hiko as a stereotype for all Japanese professionals.
I'm just saying that he plays intuitive moves that I presume are somewhat based on what he's learned by looking at pro games.
Okay, that's fair.
But he didn't do it.
But Iyama comes here. Yeah.
That's what I thought. 'Cause he has to.
Now, to some degree, though, right? This is a little bit strange for black. This is normally the type of thing white has to do, right? Because normally black is the one who builds the thing that needs to be reduced by white.
Yeah.
So, to some degree, you might think, well, hey, this is a little bit strange. I mean, it's not really that rare or anything. This happens all the time. But it's a little bit strange for black to be making this type of dangerous approach move where he's already kind of surrounded. I mean, black played very territorially, right? Black was very careful to make everything solid. So, I mean, black's going to go in there and reduce. White actually has several choices here, but the choice white made probably will surprise you. Played here. And what is the idea here?
Super safe.
And that stone is kind of in trouble.
Yeah, don't give black anything,
Yeah.
right? If we play something like this, well, now black can get some sort of eye space over here. If we play something like this, black can actually play here in Tanuki, or even start an avalanche variation, and get something this way to get some sort of shape these ways. These other variations all lead to black getting some sort of shape. White doesn't want black to have eye shape, first and foremost. And furthermore, if black descends here, right, this is normally a good exchange for black, but not when it's white's move, yeah. If black takes this right now, white will sort of punish. So black comes up with an alternative move set here. If white's going to play really slow, really defensive, black will play light and fast. And just make sure that now, later on, black can descend this and has a friend nearby so he can get tangled up in some sort of quagmire. White pokes. Black plays this shape.
Okay.
What is the benefit of this shape versus this shape?
He's got some high potential, I suppose.
It does have a little bit more, but not that much more.
Goes into the center.
It gets into the center a little bit faster, right? It's actually a little bit safer as far as this connection of this stone getting out here. It also actually makes this area more of a weakness, right? Black around here more easily. Because in other variations, white would be able to do some sort of clamp like this.
Don't do that.
But yeah, don't do that. Right? But in this case, it just doesn't work either there or there. Probably there is better. Black can just sort of slice through. So it has more repercussions on this side. It gets into the center a little bit faster. It potentially makes a little eye shape, but I don't think that's really...
Wouldn't that same threat still exist if he played solid?
Here?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, because of the two peeps. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we play here, we're treating this stone very lightly. We're saying, white, you can have that stone as long as I'm able to come around the outside.
Yeah, cool.
So it's just giving yourself a little more space to navigate around your opponent's moves. White obliges. White says, okay, I see. I don't want to get surrounded, trapped in the corner. So I'm going to get the corner out. There's also a big move in terms of points because there's still a defect in here. So this actually limits the potential of this defect being cut later on. So, and then black plays a move that
I like it.
it feels really good once you see it, but it's not a move I would find inherently. You know, it's not like a, I don't know. Usually when our opponents have a fourth line stone, we don't want to play a one space jump above it. Right, we're just saying, here, take a fourth line territory. But it's actually really hard for white to do that because we already have a stone down here. And so we can actually already reduce it from this way.
Right.
And even though the stone can be cut, we love for white to cut this stone off. Right, white is never in a million years going to do this. Because it can give us so many more free moves. Now if we have to come back and play over here, now we can play something like this. And we're happy to give this one stone up, give white these 5 points, and then get all this. So again, this is a really actually good example of a really light stone, right? The stone is useful, but we want white to kill it. If white tries to kill it, we get a whole bunch of free stuff. So it's now white's turn. White doesn't actually have a really good move over here. White, it's hard to attack this. It's very light and flexible. It's already in the middle. Saving this doesn't really feel big, you know, preventing any sort of attack. It's not really that big. We do have, you know, corner invasions. White could launch white's own invasion. But white finally comes back over here and sees these two formations and decides, you know, we should do something on the side of the board to break it up. And for me, this is a move that's not on my radar at my level, right? I would normally look at this move,
Yeah, sounds like it.
right? But, you know, pro players can read a lot better than I can. And a lot of times they're a lot less worried about making a base than they are about achieving flexibility. So even though this is harder to make a base, it's also harder to attack too. And so white can sort of throw a stone in here and, you know, it can do things like this, or same on this side, try to make some sort of shape. And it can also jump out very, very easily, right? It's already on the fourth line. Black immediately says, you know, you don't get any base over here. But white doesn't really care. White goes like, well, maybe I can still make something over here and I can still jump out. This isn't really a severe attacking move. You know, white has moves to make shape and get out. Attachment, just jump out. So white's going to leave this for much, much later. So white tries to find the next biggest move on the board.
3-3?
This one?
Yeah, not yet.
This is pretty big. It's pretty big, but there's bigger still. This is big in terms of points, but it's not that big in terms of global consequence yet.
Right.
Yes.
What about jumping?
Well,
If he plays it globally, it's going to be not so good. Probably.
who's not so good?
Like,
That's what I'm saying. He has to worry more about the global,
oh,
the other things going on the board is all I'm
you
saying.
said it wasn't big.
It's big in terms of points. It's not big in terms of the...
It is big. It's negatively big. Well, I guess it's small.
That's called small.
I guess that's small. You're right.
It's negative. What about jumping out on with the 14 stone there? Something along those lines.
Looks big.
Get some presence in the
Looks big.
center. So you're not reduced.
I think it's okay. It's not what I played in the game,
Okay.
but...
Well, I'm not a 9-star pro. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Work on that, Wayne.
I'm working on it.
This is the biggest area of black's development.
Yeah.
Right, so I mean, we can see that, especially if black can attack this and just build this way, effectively black could make 50 points right here without a whole lot of effort if we can lean on this stone and get some sort of attack going.
So typically that would be the 15 A, B, C, D line, something like right there, yeah.
Yeah, this would be the traditional reduction
Yeah,
point.
traditional.
I don't think black or white wants to play here
You would just get surrounded right
because, well, he's going to get cut. These two groups are immediately going to get split.
Yeah.
So this is sort of goading your opponent into attacking two of your weak groups that you haven't made yet.
Yeah.
So instead, white doesn't want to play that close to this stone. So white invades here. This is a pretty normal invasion in this shape. If you've never seen this type of invasion, this is a great, go read some more pro games. Okay, this is very common. But white has a corner, this type of extension. Black has a very loose extension. We can invade. Black's response is very strong. Black does not take no crap from nobody. And basically the reaction is, oh, you invaded, bro? I didn't even notice. I was gonna build my stuff.
Cool invasion, bro.
That's right. Well, I mean, this black really does want to get out because there's still a lot of unfinished business in here and in here, right? So there's, black wants to keep this kind of strong. And so white says, oh, that's no problem. I will just come in here and, you know, do my little troublemaking thing in your biggest potential area. But black Pistanes, white crosscuts. All right, so black has to either punish or get something, right? Because right now, if black can't give up this stone, if white captures this stone and just lives in here, it's a total failure, right? Like game over. If white is allowed a strong group here, black has very little potential, basically this and this, as far as points. So,
Just extend from the cut stone.
which stone?
The one.
Bottom right?
Yeah.
Very good. Take your weaker stone, just help it out. And this actually gives white shape problems, right? Because white doesn't really have a move to link up these two groups. And white has weaknesses, right? I mean, this only has 2 liberties, this only has 2 liberties. So white has a little bit of a problem.
Maybe.
So, maybe?
Well, let's see.
Well, what would you play, Dan?
I don't know. I certainly probably wouldn't respond. I might not want to respond correctly,
Okay.
but let's see if I can attach on the jumping group. Well, can I attach? I don't know. Can I get a move? No. I mean, let's see.
I feel like if white loses that stone.
Which stone?
I'm getting there. No, yeah, yes, no. Point again. Can you point to the place? No, yes. If he loses that stone, then his whole purpose for reducing black's territory is gone.
Well, this is already strong for black, right? So this stone actually isn't that important.
Really?
What's important is white wants to keep this weak and keep these 2 strong. And this stone is helpful for that, right? Because as long as white has a stone here, this stone is weak.
So the focus has shifted from black's large potential territory
Well,
over there
yeah.
to killing those stones there.
Well, we're still in this area. The whole focus is still here.
Yeah, I think I'll attach.
Which one?
3-5.
3?
No, 3-5. Yeah.
This one.
I'll try that. I think I might try it. I mean, I can't.
It's basically the opposite of what they played.
Okay, fine. Whatever.
I'll show
I just looked to see if it was reasonably plausible.
I'll show you the move that Murakawa plays.
Okay. Chicken.
Chicken?
Chicken. Wants to say that all is man.
Yes.
If I'm white, I'm shaking in my boots
Why?
because I don't know what to do now.
I mean, if you're white, if you're black, it's black's
I'm
move.
white,
Oh, if you're
yes,
white, you
that's
don't know what to
right.
do. What does this move do?
Well, it puts a lot of pressure on those 2 black stones.
Yeah.
It threatens to sort of
Separate.
do things
Yeah.
that are kind of mean to these 2 stones. What else does it do?
It also allows him to ladder that black stone, maybe?
Not quite ladder. Not quite ladder. But we can play this. And how about we play it? How about white tries to play, or black tries to play here? And black has to play here. These are all basically, if black doesn't do any of these, black's getting eaten, right?
Does he just squeeze them down?
That's right. This is not the game, but I want to show you the shape. So you're going to take this Atari for free. This Atari is free. And how about you just plow on through these 2 black stones? And granted, black can come back and capture this, but it's not.
Small.
Look, this is now basically a giant wall into black's area.
Right.
And this is pretty poor shape for black. So black doesn't really want this to happen.
So black gets a move
Black does get a move.
for it. So
It is important. I'm just showing you what,
If the
if black needs to respond over there, right? So if black responds this way, that whole sequence is basically forced, and white is cutting through here. Right now we have 2 black stones with nowhere to go. So black doesn't have time to really play this.
Interesting. So does he just extend, or?
Sure?
Yeah.
Similar idea.
No, that's.
White still has to make shape out of this somehow.
Yeah.
So first white plays it. And black takes, and white plays here. Now what is this threatening?
Cold.
Yeah, it's basically saying, hey, let's make a ko here.
This seems still too early.
It feels that way, doesn't it? So here, I'm going to give you some foreshadowing. There's going to be like 4 major kos created in the next 50 moves. This is just the first one. These guys are going to go down the rabbit hole pretty quickly. None of the kos are particularly long. They're actually all resolved very quickly. But there are 4 brutal kos that start. This is the first one. White would love to be able to take this ko, because if black makes a bad threat, white captures this. Now white has a super strong group right here. And if white takes this and black has to respond, well, now white's shape is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
So this is pretty significant ko. Black really wants the time to come back here, though. This is the move that was played. Really? Black doesn't want these to be endangered, right? Black wants to keep these
Still
super
to
safe.
protect those 2.
Is protect these 2. And of course, white takes the ko. You can just watch and see what the sequence for this leads up. Black does not try to fight that part of the ko. If white now has this problem, so white has to come back and fix. When white fixes, black gets a free Atari, which is again helpful for this group. So white has to connect, and now black gets to play over here. So it wasn't a real ko. I mean, it was really just sort of the start of a ko that both players avoided. They didn't take this as a serious fight at this point. Who got what? What's the result?
It was better for black.
Yeah.
By far. He's out with his 2 stones that were weak originally. Yeah, those 2. And
Well, there's still moves like this too, right? That
But black's here.
doesn't quite connect cleanly, but
On
it,
the other hand,
Black's big area is
white
no
does-
longer quite as big.
White's invading. I mean, the black center is. White's got a reasonably strong, solid group there.
yeah, there is this group of white. It doesn't have direct eyes yet, but it's not weak either.
yeah.
So it's somewhere in between.
And white never really did have territory, so it doesn't matter that much. And it's his move.
That's white's move right now. Well, black's putting on pressure here, right?
Wow, it's.
So as white, would you play here or would you play here? Or Tanuki?
To the left.
I'd play on the 3rd line.
Yeah.
I'm not a coward.
I don't know. Can I end up with a corner if I play on the 3rd line?
This is the game. Yeah, white plays super chicken.
Awesome.
No, we don't see this move a whole lot in pro games in this type of situation, right? When there's a weak group nearby, pros want to cut through and fight. Except the problem is that black gets here, or actually even just here is actually probably just fine. And now what does white do? White can't really, normally you try to push again and cut, right? There's no cut, there's a ladder here. So pushing up doesn't really go anywhere. So instead we have to be mindful of our side, we have to be a little bit submissive. Black is very interested in, again, keeping this outside as strong as possible, and perhaps later on separating that stone.
Yeah, if white.
So black plays there. White says, I really kind of like that stone. And this move again can poke holes here later. It keeps white's groups now basically alive. So black can't really severely attack this. Black can still invade the corner, but white won't be able to make eyes. So white plays there for safety. And then black plays a move. And this is the move that Anyang Gil said was questionable. This is the first move that was a little bit dubious. And I'll tell you the idea. I can actually tell you, I think, what the pro is thinking, what Iyama is thinking. Iyama's trying to find weak groups on the board, divide them, and attack them.
Was he just standing there?
Where?
Does he make an iron pillar to try to cut off that white stone?
This one?
No, on the left side.
This.
No, because he said that's alive
Oh,
already.
this one.
Just to cut that stone off is what I mean. Yeah,
This stone, like these stones, this stone is light for white too, actually,
Sure.
though, right? Because if black tries to cut off now, black might have a problem here because there's this cut, and white still always has moves like here.
Yeah.
So this stone is actually kind of light. There's an area where this area, like no one's going to get any points, right? It looks like, because if anyone who tries to take it, the other person will just stop it from the other side.
Okay.
It's a very hard area to defend on this board for either player. So where else can Iyama create weak whitenesses?
You said
White,
there was,
weakness,
weak
white,
whitenesses. I like that.
white weaknesses.
you said there was a defect with that stuff in the top left?
Up here?
That was partially fixed, but not totally?
But we can't really use it directly, right? Because white played here. White sort of fixed the defect. Right, if we go here, white can just play there. There's no cut anymore, right? Because there's a stone.
Excuse me, too strong.
Yeah.
What if he tries to, what if he pincers that 14 stone on the top right?
This one?
Yeah.
That will create a weakness, but it's not where he played.
Okay.
Again, Iyama's trying to attack two things at once.
What about on the lower right, try to attack that stone, and if that doesn't work, attack the thing?
Yes, this is Iyama's idea. And again, the 8-dan pro Anyang Gil says this is actually wrong. This move is questionable, but this is what he goes for. That's the idea he goes for.
It's greedy.
That's what he plays here. Says, okay, I want you to run this stone. I want you to just run. I want to build a huge wall here, and I want to kill this. That's the new plan.
Hard to kill that though.
We'll see. White has his own idea. If you have a weak group or a weak-looking group, how do you make it stronger?
One way is you can give
Look
it
at that stones. They may hopefully make eye shape. How do professionals do it?
Sibicky.
Okay, they say flexible. That doesn't really make it stronger, that makes it more flexible though. They make something else weaker. Right? It's sort of like if I have a weak group and you have a weak group, we're all fine. We're all weak together. No one's going to die. But if I have a weak group and you have a strong group, I'm going to die, right? So all I need to do is make something of yours weaker.
Remember.
So white throws it. Yes, weak group plus weak group, everybody lives. And if you're playing in a Q game, strong group plus strong group, everybody dies. Only in Q games. So Iyama and Murakawa are sort of playing a little bit different game, right? They're sort of actually having this debate right now on this board. Like, what's really important? Wait, you think this is bigger? There's still Aji over here, and there's still like this other thing here, and there's still things over here. This isn't big. Granted, this actually helps out this a lot because now all of a sudden, if this has to run, this can run, and white's fine. So black really says, well, what about this? How about mealtime? Something really big over here is starting to form.
So this is just like a debate about like who can make it bigger.
Yeah, where's the
Civic
bigger,
games,
where's the
right?
most important, biggest thing on this board, right?
Who's
Is it
gonna
over
blink?
here? I mean, when black plays this, I think black is playing with the intention of coming after this,
Right.
right? But white says, no, I'm gonna make that fine. And so black is left with having to come after this. So that's fine, that's cool. So white plays here. Black plays this variation. Which is a real Josaki variation. It's pretty, I don't see it that often in pro games, and I played this variation. Actually, I might have played it against Anyang Gil. There was a KGS thing, I think, where I won a game, like I won a tournament or something. I won a game against a pro player one year, and I think it was Anyang Gil. I should double check that actually. And I played this variation on him, the commentator, right? The commentator,
right,
the commentator in this game, and he destroyed it. Like he just poked holes in it everywhere. It was wonderful for everyone watching.
Did you get a review?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's like, this is why we don't play this move. It's not good. But in this case, I think black does because black already has a stone here. And black is actually really trying to get white to use up a whole bunch of Aji here, so that black gets really strong and then can just really strong. I think is the idea. I haven't looked at all the variations. All right, white just plays here. And now, oh dear. Oops. White, black. Black comes back over here and starts dealing with this cut that white played earlier. And I suspect that both these players are also, or especially Iyama, but both players I think are sort of aware of, you know, when white makes this cut, white has read out these variations, right, of what happens if black, you know, does things like this or like this or like this. Like when white makes this cut, you know, he's already reading what happens here. And so guess where we're headed, kids? Oh. There can be only one Highlander. And all of a sudden we're back in this vicious ko again. The ko that we sort of fizzled out over here,
Just moved.
this was teleporting. Yeah, so if white, of course white has to take this, right? No other move. This ko is really huge, right? Can you imagine if black were to win this ko?
Mm-hmm.
What happens to this group again?
Super weak again.
It becomes weak again because this stone now becomes stronger. And furthermore, what about white's corner? Yeah, I mean, this
Lunch.
yeah, so this is probably even a more significant code than last time.
Right.
And
Where? Not here.
and if you remember this variation, when black plays this variation, this is almost like a slight minus for black in like normal play. But if black is able to take here, right, can you imagine what this would look like if black gets this?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, white has no points up here, black has a really thick corner, and this is actually really strong, right? It becomes very difficult for white to run this out. So white says, that's all right, we got to do this. We'll just stay there, and black will take back the call. White can't let black win, white just gives up and sort of connects. Black asks for a little bit more. Really? Then black plays this move, which is pretty far out. I'd like to cut all the moves in. What is black trying to do with this move?
He's trying to retain the weakness of the center group there.
Well, first of all, there's these three stones that are
Yeah.
mortal danger, need a ko to live if black gets one move. But second, it actually makes this into a real severe defect too, right? Because black can push and cut, capture. This is a very severe move. Right? When people talk about Hiyama and like him counter, like, oh, you're gonna come now mess with me? Okay, now we're gonna fight? This is the type of thing, this is the type of situation that he'll bring you right back into. It's very confusing, right? Because we have this ko going on while there's this push cut thing, while there's this capture move.
Why is it something to take that code?
Yeah, of course white takes the ko.
Oh, what are you doing? What's that going to do? Oh. Yeah.
Black says, hey, white, if you really want this, that's fine. I'll come back over here, I'll kill all this. And white says, yep, that's fine. That's fine. Remember this weak group, this invasion I did?
Wow.
How weak is it now?
All right.
It's huge.
Black finishes this off.
Wow.
And
So let's play that variation because of the cotlets.
so white played the variation? Or?
Black played the variation on top because of the top of the cotlets.
Yeah, but I think at this point, white's having a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, this is a lot of black territory.
Yeah, white looks ahead.
And,
Definitely.
well, there's big reductions over here though, right?
It's true.
I mean,
Blocking off a lot of.
this isn't as big as it looks.
You're blocking off a lot of black cash from my. From my
Oh, I see. Then you need to move to a better seat, Dan.
No. It's true. I forget about that.
I mean, this is actually bigger than this,
Yeah, but
right?
yeah, but
And then this is bigger than this. So, I mean, in terms of like raw points, you know, black is ahead, but white has a lot of potential left. Right now, basically, white has the strongest thing in the middle of this board. And furthermore, this is kind of looking lunchish. This is starting to look a little tasty. Remember all these stones that we played so light and flexible? It turns out, if you have light and flexible stones, and your opponent has a gargantuan, it doesn't really matter how you swim. It's one giant gulp, right? Gets you eaten. So even though black is ahead in terms of cash, there's a lot more potential now for white in this whole area to eat some things.
and also, you know, there's still algae in the upper right.
Oh yeah, there's Aji here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not clear. Anyway, let me make sure this is the right move. I think it is. Yep. White comes here now. So why does white play a move like this?
Start the meal.
Yeah, we have to make sure that if all this is going to be on the menu, we have to make sure it can't eat us. We have to make sure it can't get eyes, it can't see, and it can't eat us. So we have to make this a little bit stronger. Black plays here, again trying to separate, because later on black can play here and again still eat white. So this is a little bit of a who eats who situation. We're not sure yet. And white finds this move. And this is actually really hard to deal with if you're black. Because if you run out, if we just run out and white is able to just run out, who is this better for?
White.
Yeah, why?
That big thing on the bottom.
Yeah, this is like the belly of the whale, right?
Exactly.
So we don't really just want to run and run. And it's actually really hard to counterattack this shape. Like we can try things, but it's kind of difficult to do.
What happens if you just,
Since yeah.
From this stone or this one?
There.
So let's say white plays here. Which side do you go on now? This way or this way?
That way.
You go this way. Now what?
how to protect the cut?
Directly?
Yeah.
Okay. If white plays here.
Can you run a little bit easier now because you've got some thickness in the middle?
It's tough to find a move.
If you don't want to.
Well, if black can get out, right, I think is what he's saying, is that we can then eat white.
Right.
It's not entirely that easy or clear, though. I don't know the proper move here. I'm sure it's something fancy, awesome. Maybe just that, let black try to come in here, and when black squirms over here, we go squirm this way. And now white effectively still has lunch sitting here. I'm not 100% sure. That's just my very cursory, much lower level guess at the type of thing that they're thinking about. So let's go back.
What if black plays at like 5K?
510?
Oh, 512? There? Yeah.
It looks kind of similar, actually, right? Except you would Atari from the other side.
Okay.
It's different. I mean, it's different, but it's a hard. There's a lot of variations in here.
Yeah.
And the shape is still actually. I mean, black can cut and do things, but I think white ends up with some sort of shape that gets to cut off black too. Black plays here in the game. And once black does this, white now fixes the shape here. And black tries to connect underneath, right? Hey, that's, if we can connect underneath, then, you know, we saved our food and white can't eat us, and it's great. Except,
Oh.
Number 3.
there we go. And white starts this one in the most violent way possible with that
Wow.
Atari. So this is now an even more violent co. Maybe not, last one's pretty violent too, but. Now we have this group versus this group. Who's going to live here? This guy.
That's almost a game.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I mean, well, so far white has quote unquote won 2 of the co's,
Right.
right? But often it's a trap, right? You guys have played Go where you get into a co fight and then your co, you end up winning the co but losing the war because the co threat you realize later was much bigger than the actual co.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, you don't want to just go around the board just winning every co fight. That's not really how you play co. You have to take the best, most valuable move, regardless if it's winning co or doing something else. So black does get to take first in this case. And guess where we're going?
Ooh, back over there.
And white could have played softer co-threats. Like this is a little bit softer. But this co is so big, white has to make
So it's almost
really
like
severe ones.
What you said, like he played, Iyama like played that, so he's gotten like 5 or 6 co-threats out of that shape that he made there.
Okay, well,
That
this
weird variation that he did there.
Well, you know, Murakawa is white, right? So,
Oh, that's true. Murakawa's doing that.
I guess you're right. Iyama made the weird variation
Certain variation.
to crosscut.
Right.
I don't know anymore. I guess this is a game above my level, right? You know, I'm just trying to just take in the rhythm and find a cool move, and it's like, wow. But we're at our 3rd co-fight here. That is pretty severe. Iyama responds, right? Iyama had to fight this in co twice, right, effectively. So he's going to hold on to it. But of course, white comes back here. Take this one. Black connects. This is actually a local threat, right? Because black doesn't actually have to take this co. Black just has to connect there.
Right.
And that ends the co as well. So white has to continue making the co bigger. All right, we're back to co. Now white has to find the threat, right? Because black was able to basically get a free move here. So white comes back here. Iyama says, no, those are mine. Remember, we already talked about this in previous co's. So white gets to take. Then black plays here. Remember the potential for weaknesses? Can't worry about it.
Wow.
Can't worry about it. Have to let go. But I'm not sure how good of a threat this is, because watch the following sequence. White actually gets an okay result out of this. Surely black has to cut. And remember how white was going to eat all this before? Well, now black is actually looking at eating all this. Right? So this cut is very large, right? Because all this is crap. This is just white crap. This is white, you know, these are Triscuits. This fiber, salty goodness right there.
I like Triscuits better than crap.
Well, no, but it's crap based on your perspective,
Yes.
right? For white, it's crap. For black, it's tasty Triscuits.
Yes.
All right. White has this move, though. And there's 2 defects, right? White can capture here, or white can poke and cut. So black says, you know, I don't really care about those stones. I'm going to go eat Triscuits. It's crap to you, but I like them. So, Triscuits. And white just takes profit and protects the corner. But of course, that gives even more time for black to just really seal this in. All right, so now we've had a pretty huge switcheroo here in the game, right? Because who was supposed to get all this?
White.
Yeah, this is white. White had stone here, stone here, stone here. This was supposed to be white. Who gets everything on the side right now?
Black has
Black, okay? Who had all the stones down here?
black.
Black still gets a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's very small. And instead, white has taken that corner and
Yeah.
actually made it pretty sizable.
And possibly eaten everything in the,
Yeah, and this is all still up for debate, but this is looking pretty
right.
massive.
Isn't there a lot of ashy on the top side for white?
I'll say that again. Which one?
And there on top for white, isn't there
Oh,
ashy?
Aji. Yes, there is tons of Aji. Absolutely. We will see Aji. How about this side? Remember this stone so long ago? How does that look?
Hard to capture.
That's still there.
Still there. But here's the thing, right? It's still there, but if white were to try to run it, where's white going to go?
Right into black. Well,
I
sort
guess the
of.
idea was to go to the top, which is no black.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's black stones here and here. There is a white friend here, but this friend isn't so friendly. This friend can be cut.
Yeah.
So this isn't a real friend. This is like a fair weather friend at best. There is this thickness, but black has already leaned on it this way, right? So it's very hard for this white to get around here. If you move, black's just going to keep pushing you that way. And if white just pushes this way, and black might just be content to push it this way, and just completely neutralize this wall. It's a game. I mean, it's a game. So what white's trying to do, though, is find a way that we can save this stone safely. We can reduce this. Maybe even help this stone, because this stone's going to get cut. Maybe activate some of this Aji, and somehow use our wall.
All in one.
Go! Find it.
Tengen.
Always wrong. You've watched the videos. Actually, I was watching a Justin Tang video. If you don't know Justin's videos, he has like, I don't know, he's a really good player, but he has like no subscribers. Light Volt, I think it's either Light Volty or Light Volt, I think is a YouTube account. There's your commercial for you, Justin. Go watch Justin. He's a lot stronger than I am. But there was one move where he's like, in the game I saw yesterday, he's like, Tengen, huh? Yeah, I guess that's the right move. He just decides just to go for it, just play it. Yeah, that's right.
Is he reviewing or is he playing?
He's been both.
Uh-huh.
It's mostly recordings of him playing live. Yeah,
On YouTube.
yeah, on YouTube.
Good.
So what plays here? This is,
Yeah.
do you see everything he's trying to accomplish? You're going to try to surround all this, use this wall, kill all this, help out this stone, help this Aji, and maybe give this a friend to run to.
Cool.
If you went further, black can obviously just come in here, right, and cut this off and eat this too. If he goes less far, well then black just seals him off and just makes all this into black, and white doesn't get enough. So this is, I think it's a really nice move. I mean, it's ahead of my level, right? It's a move like I have to appreciate from a distance.
So it's like, wasn't it the ear reddening move? The
It
one that was
feels- yeah,
similar
it
to
feels like that.
right weird in the middle that sort of
Like-
just goes
It
and
just activates a whole bunch of different
Right.
things, and it does it very subtly, and it's very hard for blacks to be very busy. But black's also really, really good at this game. So remember this? Right? Black sees, oh wait, oh I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to build this, you're trying to save this. I'm going to tell you something. I'm just going to eat this and build influence this way, so that I can go play the same damn type of ear reddening move over here later on and, get over there.
He's gonna have enough, huh?
Well, this is also helps reduce this, right? Because this is very thin. And so if black has
Sure.
thickness over here, black can play some moves that are pretty far out and find weaknesses to get in there too. And save this
See
stuff.
what happens.
We'll see what happens. White plays here.
We knew that he was gonna play there eventually.
Yeah, and but now there's a big difference. When white plays here now, there's actually still this Aji over here. So this is severe. Right? So if black does nothing, white's actually going to sneak into this corner.
Right, so so white waited. So black.
Black does not want white using this Aji. This corner was black's, damn it.
Right.
Get over this. So black plays here. Normally we'd expect to move like this, right? But again, we don't want to give white this sort of Aji down here. We don't want white living down here. That'd be a very bad scenario. Let's see if we can move right. And white plays here.
So fast.
It's almost too fast, right?
Yeah.
It's like, what is this stone going to connect to? This
Yeah.
stone doesn't work. This stone is mostly dead. This stone is too far away. Really dangerous move.
It gives him 3 choices to aim at it.
But none of them are safe,
Yes.
right? This can be cut off. This is mostly dead. This is mostly dead. Nothing is safe.
What about the thing on the bottom?
Oh, this one is safe. But it's far away. There's black stones nearby.
Yeah.
Cut after it.
Let's go after it, right? You're trying to do all these things. You know, you have to punish. You have to find a way.
It's a very aggressive move.
It is. All right, this is a move that, man, if I was a white player, I wouldn't be the white player. This is not a move I'm fine. This is the, oh yeah, you think you're cutting me? I'm gonna eat you. With what? This, and this? Of course, black just plays here. But white actually has other plans. This is something of like an inducing move. Well, now white plays here. This is crazy. This is just crazy. Like, we're just making this angry black stone, right? This stone is just pissed at us. Like, you're trying to do all these things, I'm just coming there and be mad. And you're just making it matter. You're just poking it with a stick, right? From the outside, we're just gonna poke it here, poke it here. Do not do this in your games, right? 20Q players do this. You have one little weak stone, they poke it, and it gets strong, and it eats everything. So black plays here. Look at this. This was just one little stone now. And now it's like, it's this huge wall.
You're going to try to eat all that stuff.
Well, hey, we were dead over here, right?
Yeah,
Let's go and mess with it.
Yeah, I think you go.
Oh, sorry. That is right. Yep. Okay. Thought I skipped a move. White plays there. White's still trying to eat this, right? But he's always a move behind. Like, he can never eat it. So black plays here. This is looking very blackish. Black's an Atari though, so black doesn't want to give that up. Black likes these points. And white comes back over here. Says, hey, I can live or do something down here. Of course, Yama says, what? How? Let's cut. White extends. White takes. All right, and this is the first move I really don't understand. Like, and I read this out for a while, and I can kind of figure it out, but I can find all sorts of counter things as well. White plays here. And it seems like there's nothing here. It seems like,
Nothing there?
well, if black just plays here, there's nothing. Right?
Seems like it.
This is an Atari, right? So these two stones are always safe. However, black doesn't play here. So there becomes something there.
Huh.
So I don't, this is why it confounds me, because I'm looking at this seems like a bad exchange, right? And black plays here, now there's really nothing here. But black doesn't play there. And the follow-up for white is very cool. Like, the follow-up I didn't see, like, at all.
Well, why don't I appeal?
Black plays here.
Yeah, that's what I was
Eventually
thinking.
get a
You got to hem it in, right?
Yeah, just
Black
again,
plays
continue
down.
filling this in, get over here. I mean, this actually puts a lot of pressure on these 6 stones, right? If black plays one move over here, and all of a sudden we have a white group that has no friends. It has to run all the way to the wall.
Right.
So, again, I'm not sure if Murakawa was thinking, hey, I'm going to play this move because black's not going to respond here.
Well,
Like, it is a forcing move because here's what happens. White plays here.
This is what happens.
This is the game. This is the game. This is the game. All along. White plays here.
no.
This doesn't look like it goes anywhere, right? Like, because if it goes this way, white is an Atari. If white pushes this way, white's an Atari.
No.
White takes this free Atari right now. Oh yes, this is the key move. This Atari makes this whole thing work.
Oh, it's a ladder.
No,
Looks like a ladder.
black captures. Well, but it doesn't work. It's
That's a
Atari.
ladder.
It's a broken
It's a
ladder.
ladder.
It's broken.
Coal ladder.
It's a co-ladder. Yes.
What's that?
Oh, I didn't hear the co part.
You don't believe in adjectives?
I didn't hear the adjective. I believe in them just fine.
Coal ladder is a kind of ladder.
Thanks, Dan. So this is actually what White was threatening when White plays this move. Because now, what do we have, boys and girls?
Really cool looking.
Co number 4. And so far, White is 3-0 on co-fights.
Yeah, but
White's won this one, and this one.
yeah, but now his threats are monumental.
Well, here's the first threat.
Yeah,
That's a really big threat, right?
it's huge.
Because, hey, if this stuff gets connected to this is junk and this is junk. If the junk and junk connect, it's no longer junk.
Yeah.
It's a stallion riding off in the distance at the end of the film saying sayonara. Here we go here. We respond. Oops, what? Oh, no, we don't respond. Oh, wow. No, right, that's right. Aha, I heard. All right, different game. Sorry. We don't respond. Black plays here.
Interesting.
This actually ends the co-fight.
Why? What?
This ends the co-fight.
Why doesn't?
Tell me.
Why isn't he afraid of the capture?
Well,
Because
he doesn't believe in stallions riding off into the movie sunset.
Okay.
I think he almost says, you have junk plus junk, they just make more junk. Well, White, of course, takes. This isn't an eye, it's a false eye. So it's not like
it's a
we
connection.
made an eye. And now, I think that's a move. Whoops. Oh, something that's there. Did that get moved? I took that off the wrong stone off a long time ago. Ignore everything I said for the last half hour. It's similar. It's very similar. But now Black is saying, hey, remember this stuff? Well, now it's weak again. You don't have eyes. And Black still retains all of this.
That's crazy.
And as long as you're running this way, I'm going to be able to get to save this. White explores for defects, but instead Black plays here. Just again, not letting White just Atari and connect and do these sorts of things. All right, so now White has to find a way to make this stronger. Start with a good old-fashioned Atari. Black takes. White peeps here. Because now, do you remember how White, like Black played the pissed off stone here? And White was just poking at the stick until it got super strong? Well, from this co-fight, we were actually able to almost completely surround it.
Yeah.
So like, White almost got what White wanted. So Yama plays here. Just connects. And connecting here is fine because there's actually still a cutting here. Black can actually just cut right through. So White owes a move. White has to come back and play a really slow move. And now Yama can come back and cover. And that's, again, Black doesn't care if this lives. As long as Black can come back in here and cause mischief and gain profit by attacking it, Black still wins the game. So White has to try harder. Poke it with a stick. Black just fixes the cut here, so now we've basically saved this. At the same time, this threatens to link up. So Black plays here. And this basically just, again, pokes it with a stick.
I hear that's going to be on the t-shirts for the next Go-Con.
Just poke it with a stick. It's pretty good, actually. I'll lobby for that. Just poke it with a stick, poke it with a stick. And then Black turns here. And White still has cuts to worry about. Black is almost linked up to this group. And then this is sort of like the move of the game. And this is a tough one to understand. White basically needs to find a way to be able to play 2 moves over here. I think that's the idea. Like if white just plays 1, like this isn't really good enough, right? It's this black has liberties, can get out. I don't know, there's lots of things to read, I guess, in here. There's still things like this over here. But white really needs to find time to play 2 moves over here. So white can get out and go back on the attack. So that's the goal. So the move that white finds to try to get 2 moves over here is this one. Nope. Is this one. And it's a hard move. Like it's a really hard move to see. What is white trying to do? With this move?
Connect or capture those 2?
Yeah, connect out to this, or capture these stones. Okay? So black responds here. Black says, I don't like those options. And now white comes back over here. Black, again, just wants to stay solid. And again, once we get a move here, now these cuts start looking very juicy. It looks like these are going to die. So white plays another move. Black plays another move. And white comes back to make sure these are stabilized, and it looks like we're attacking black again. Black plays there. And white plays here. So this looks like a capturing race almost, right?
Mhm.
Starting to look, especially if black gets this cut, right?
Because for a while.
Yeah, it has looked like it for a while, right? Because we basically have this giant white junk plus this black stick. But there's still some defects. I think we place the right cut, that cut. We have a cut here. I've been telling you guys about now forever. And now here's the follow-up on this move. We played, 20 moves back. And in the game, black plays here. I think that's the game at least. I'll make sure it's the game. Yes, that's the game. Oops. And white just connects. And here's the thing. How many liberties does this white group have now?
2.
No, 3.
Has 3.
Oh, there it is.
How many liberties does this black group have? It also has 3. Isn't that weird? Because we can actually short black a liberty here. Right, if we play here, black needs to respond, white still has 3.
Yeah.
And all we have to do is play a move like that. And black's dead. So in other words, this sequence,
Bad for black.
it forces black to respond basically an extra time over here. And because of that, we can get a free move somewhere over here. What's not on the board? This. Is that correct?
That looks
That's
correct.
correct. So when black connects there, that's the move. White now has the time to play this. Black says, as white's asking black, what are you going to do about this? Do you want this to die? Black says no by capturing these 2. Because if black doesn't do this, right, all of a sudden now we have this weak black group again, and white can fight forever and be fine. So black captures,
And he gets his 2 moves.
and he gets
Yeah, so-
he got both of these, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
And white can come back and now cut. White push.
Where did black go after the push?
Cut.
Oh, sorry. Of course. Yep. Getting ahead of myself. Black plays here. White cuts. Uh-oh. Oops, I played this out of order. Black makes this cut first. How many liberties does this group have?
3.
3, that's kind of dangerous. It actually has less than 3. Well, at least this part of the stick, right? Because black has a throw in here. Take Atari, so it's really like 2.
2 and a bit.
It's fine. It is technically 3, but it sort of functions more like 2. So now I list these exchanges. Black plays here. White actually needs to play here because there's very few liberties, right? Black throw in, take Atari. White is down to 2 liberties. So white needs more liberties to win the capturing race. But black still needs more liberties to get this out. Double Hane, maximum pressure. Black is still has these cuts, this Aji. I'm going kind of fast right now because we're actually getting close to the stopping point I want to stop at. And then we'll recap. Black takes Atari. Oops, sorry, that was wrong. Oh my gosh. What did I do? Black takes Atari. There we go, that's better. Black has a cool Tsuji over here. Again, it's basically looking more and more like a capturing race, right? So this move actually helps us short a liberty. Then here, how many liberties does this group have? 2. So white needs to gain more. Oops, yeah, there we go. Going ahead of my iPad. And white has to cut here. How many eyes does this give white?
1.
0.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because that's a...
Atari,
Yeah.
Right, we have Atari.
Mm-hmm.
But black now connects up here. And white gets this, and this group is now basically captured. Even though black can Atari this twice, white has too many liberties out here.
Right.
So at this point, who got what? Here, let's. I know we went through the last 40 moves pretty quickly. Let's take a look at the overall view of the board. What did black get?
Top right corner.
Yep, this is all black. This is all black. There's actually a lot of Aji here because white is actually really short on liberties. So white can't really push this group anywhere. It has no shape to do so. So this is going to get sealed in pretty quickly. So all this is black, all this is black, this is black. Well, what is the status in here?
I think
Right.
it's alive because... Oh no.
Well, white is okay. All these white stones live. This black group dies.
Right.
But remember how white was going to make a lot of points over here?
Mm-hmm.
That never really happened. Right? Black was able to connect up and around here.
Yeah.
So this whole thing, you could say black actually ended up giving this up to basically reduce white over here and guarantee all these points.
Yeah.
To solidify all this. This is also dead white. This actually was this is a very big sacrifice for white. And so what does white get? White got this, that's not small.
Still has the bottom left.
Still has this,
the top
still has
right.
that. And that's really about it.
Yeah.
There's no points in here. In fact, white has to come back and capture these. So at this point, this is pure endgame.
Yeah.
And both players play a really solid endgame. White is actually up by a couple points at this point. White plays a little conservative in the endgame. And Murakawa Daisuke actually hangs on for a 1.5 win in Game 5 of the Oza Championship.
Wow.
Which means
So Iyama's down by 2 titles. Huh?
Iyama now needs 2 titles to come back. He has to play through the whole tournament again, that whole sequence
Yeah,
of individual players again next year. Haha, you're laughing at Iyama? I want to tell him you said that.
So white one.
So white wins this game. You know, white, all the crazy poking it with a stick eventually kind of worked.
So I should do that?
No. This is what not to learn from this game, okay? I definitely don't recommend doing that.
But it's interesting that white's actually ahead at this point, because I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, it's really because of Comey. I mean, on the board, black's ahead,
Yeah.
right? But it's because white gets that extra
Sure.
6.5 points that puts white ahead. I mean, on the board, black has more points just in terms of physical
Is it
points.
still 6.5
Yes.
in Japan?
Yep. But this isn't small. This is actually quite a big kill, despite how much all of this is,
Yeah.
right? You have basically all the edge for, half of the board's edge is all black. And there's still, little end game reductions here.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a game where, I fully acknowledge I don't understand every move in this game fully. This is definitely a game ahead of my level. But it's kind of fun to watch a game where someone just pokes things with a stick and then it all works out.
Well, what
Yeah.
what, if anything, could have Iyama done better?
Well, so this is where you need a stronger player than me, right? And for me, the thing that looks suspicious is fighting for this corner so much. I'm sure he made the right choice. I mean, he's a much stronger player than I am, but that looks suspicious to me. But he has his reasons, right? Especially if he thinks he's getting the whole bottom.
Yeah.
But I'd be much more inclined to take the ko. Again, Anyang Gil says leaning on this one stone was probably the first dubious move. Just going after this a little bit too soon.
Interestingly, nothing happened there for a long time after he played that move.
Yeah. Well, I mean, white doesn't want to respond directly over here anyway, because white doesn't want the stone to run out, right? Iyama wants white to run, and Iyama wants to chase him like the tiger in the forest, right? This is
So Anyang Gil is saying that allowed white to Tanuki.
it wasn't a strong enough move that white needed to do something about it,
okay.
right? And then you had this really killer play in the middle where he made that large knights jump that was a really nice move. It surrounded this, it threatened this, it used this Aji.
Yeah.
There was a nice move there. I don't know. I don't know. There's too many moves in this game that scare me, right? I mean, there's a lot of moves like I'd stare at the move and I go, "There's no way I can play that in my own game." Like I can't read out all the variations. I don't understand all the meanings. I'd be frightened to play about probably 20% of the moves in this game. They're not on my radar, or just not on my radar at all. Another 20% I might consider immediately write off. And of moves that I feel really, really comfortable and good with in this game, it's probably like 20% I feel good with. And everything just goes down in terms of the questionableness, in terms of how I relate to them.
Cool.
So, but that's why we review pro games, right? That's why we want to see these championship games. That's why we want like the two best players in the tournament to go to game 5 and throw down a 1.5 game in the end.
Do you think that the high Chinese, how did that actually
Affect the
influence,
game?
affect the game in the long game?
I think it made black play a little bit more outward out here. Like black really never invaded this, right? Black only reduced it. And on some level you might say, well, if Yama is used to playing against low Chinese, that's a good way to play against low Chinese. But maybe against high Chinese, maybe that's the 1.5 difference. I mean, maybe that's that's the type of thing. I feel like at least Keito Masao's he did a book on just the Chinese Open. It's like a turquoise book. It's a kind of esoteric book, but it's a good read if you want about the Chinese. And the variation when he goes lots of variations. The high Chinese always involve these invasion variations, and the low Chinese involves a lot of these reduction variations. And for me, based on my level looking at this game, it does sort of feel like Yamayuta sort of played it almost like it was the low Chinese, where he was much more patient with it. He didn't want to invade. He didn't want to go into it. He was waiting for white to come after him. And when he did go after it, instead of digging in or even picking a side and living there, he just sort of floated out into the middle. And that's a very tried and true strategy against the Low Chinese.
Interesting.
Although I guess Low Chinese today, white doesn't play this move either. So I don't know. There's a lot of Go I don't understand. I don't study Go every day at this point in my life, and what comes in and out of fashion is not, entirely on my radar at the time. But it's an interesting thought. If I could start internet conspiracies, which I will right at this moment, maybe say that Yamayuta lost the Oza because he treated the High Chinese like the Low Chinese and lost that extra 2 points. There's my internet conspiracy. I'll fill up the internet message board.
I think that's
Go
better
viral.
than well, this is the second move of the game. Well, this is the move that lost the game. I think it's better than that.
Perhaps. Well, it's a lot harder to prove too, right? It sounds really good and it's hard to prove, so I think I'm clear. But yeah, I'm sure a real pro will say, no, that's not the case at all. He actually did play against the High Chinese in all these other subtle ways that I don't understand.
No, I'm sold.
You're sold, right?
Sold on it.
I know. That's why I'm great at teaching the Q class. It's perfect.
All right, poke it with a stick.
Poke it with a stick. Don't do it. Despite evidence of it working. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.